Welcome, welcome. It is Wednesday, October the 15th. This is Hurricane Hub Live. I'm Chief Meteorologist Tim Pandages here on 13 News Now Plus. And tonight on HHL, well, Lorenzo has already faded away. It was around for about 48 hours, a short lifespan, much like its predecessor, Karen. That was a subtropical storm for like 18 hours. So at least Lorenzo was around for a little while longer, but did not affect any land. Next area to watch could be, and that's the part I want to stress, could be the Caribbean as we get into next week. It's been untapped so far this season, and there are some indications with long-range models that a tropical wave could get into the Caribbean and seed it, and it could develop into something, but it's still a long ways out. We're much quieter in the Eastern Pacific. No name storms out there now in either basin. Here's a recap of our season so far in 2025. The only thing to come out of the Caribbean or the Gulf was Barry way back on the early part of the season, and the only landfall in the U.S. was Chantal. Weak tropical storm that made landfall in South Carolina in early July, I want to say, and everything else has been pretty much the theme of recurving out to sea. Here's our most recent storm, Lorenzo, and there's Karen way up in the North Atlantic. It was a subtropical storm. Out there right now, you can kind of pick out where the remnants are of Lorenzo. Was barely able to hold on to a tropical storm status all day today, and they finally issued their final advisory on this at 5 p.m., saying it is now down to a remnant low, and it will just eventually be absorbed into other systems off to the north there and not impacting anybody. There's the storm track on it there for you. It doesn't even go out anymore, moving to the north and east. Now, our focus will then shift to this tropical wave here that's moving its way across the main development region, moving off towards the west. Right now, no semblance of any organization at all. In fact, it's not even tagged as an area of interest yet. It's going to take some time, and as it moves off to the west and nears the Leeward Islands, say, early in the weekend, may start to get itself together, and we may see an invest come out of this, and it may make its way into the Caribbean, which the long-range models here are going to play out through the next 10 days, because it really takes until then, until we see anything developing at all. This is going to be something that's what we call a low rider, low latitude system, and by the time we work out 10 days from now, almost to Halloween, we've got two different solutions, both showing something coming out of that area. The European has a bona fide hurricane heading due west towards Guatemala, over towards the Yucatan, El Salvador. And then the GFS shows a storm that would follow the theme of this year, maybe getting into the far eastern Caribbean and then turning north. Both showing hurricanes, but very different in regards to location. Again, it's 10 days out. This will definitely change, but it may be something to certainly watch. And as we brought you yesterday on Tuesdays, we get the Climate Prediction Center outlook for 2 and 3 weeks. This is the 2-week outlook here, taking us through almost Halloween, showing an area of moderate possibility of development, tropical development, during that time. So that would be from that tropical wave seeding that area. Another tropical wave in the Eastern Pacific. Nothing's really changed from this since yesterday. Still a moderate chance of that developing, but doesn't really look to be getting its act together anytime soon. So we stand still with our scorecard at 17 and 12 of 4 hurricanes, 3 major in the Atlantic, 9 hurricanes, and 3 major out in the Eastern Pacific, with no likely added storm names anytime soon. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and after we'll have tropical trivia, and we're going to talk about a special hurricane anniversary on the state as well in just a few minutes. Welcome back to Hurricane Hub Live. While this hurricane season has been relatively quiet, that's not always the case. On this day in 1954, 71 years ago, Hurricane Hazel made landfall on the Carolina coast as a Category 4 storm. Hazel caused widespread destruction, claiming over 1,000 lives in its path. Nye Campbell breaks down the devastating storm's track and impact.
Hurricane Hazel, a Category 4 storm, is the strongest to ever make landfall in North Carolina, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, also known as NOAA. Forecasters initially thought the center of Hazel would remain offshore and weaken, but the hurricane turned northwest, heading towards land. The morning of October 14th, an official warning from Carolina officials resulted in mass evacuations. Hazel made landfall near Calabash, North Carolina, close to the South Carolina state border. Winds were estimated to reach 130 to 150 miles per hour. As a result of the high storm surge, parts of the region were completely flooded. The Weather Bureau in Raleigh, North Carolina stated that, quote, all traces of civilization on the immediate waterfront between the state line and Cape Fear were practically annihilated. The National Hurricane Center reports that Hazel was responsible for 95 deaths and $281 million worth of damage in the United States, 100 deaths and $100 million in damage in Canada, and an estimated 400 to 1,000 deaths in Haiti. The 1954 Atlantic hurricane season was also the start of retiring hurricane names. According to the National Weather Service, this practice started because of Hurricanes Carol, Edna, and Hazel's significant damage and loss of life.
All right, let's get to tropical trivia. Yesterday's question was, what's the deadliest U.S. hurricane of the 21st century so far? Was it Irma, Katrina, Sandy, or Isabel? Correct answer, Katrina. Back in the very historic season of 2005, and up until 2020 was the busiest season on record. Now, tonight's trivia question, since 1954, what's the longest streak of seasons without a named storm retired? Was it two seasons, 3, 4, or 5? I'll have the answer for you tomorrow night on Hurricane Hub Live. Remember, we are here 7 nights a week at 8 p.m. for the latest on the tropics. We'll see you back here tomorrow.